Welcome to Inside the 12, our March Madness edition. In the house today, King McClure. King has obviously had a very busy week. You just came fresh off the first floor, calling those games for Westwood One. You were with ESPN at the Big 12 tournament, doing studio stuff on site, also doing play-by-play or doing analysis of the games. What were your impressions of the Big 12 tournament?
It was impressive. I mean, I had a really good time just to see good basketball every single day, to be able to be around coaches, players, to be able to just get the vibe of the tournament. You know, Iowa State went down early and it wasn't the same level of crowd. Same thing with Kansas. But it was still good vibes in the arena. To see what Houston did was extremely impressive. But overall, I thought it was a really excellent put-together tournament.
All right, the champion was crowned. Congratulations, of course, to Houston. They defeated Arizona by 12 points in their final to win their first Big 12 tournament. What did the Cougars do that you saw that enabled them to earn that championship?
Man, they just suffocate you. And when you talk about a culture of toughness, a culture of physicality, a culture of togetherness, they do all of this without Juwan Roberts. And I think that's the most impressive thing, right? It's the next man up mentality. And the expectation is, just because Juwan Roberts is out, that doesn't change who we are, that doesn't change what we do, it doesn't change the culture and our actual roots. So when you saw the way that they played against BYU, how they were able to dominate from start to finish, you saw what they did to Arizona. They just wear you down. Javier Francis comes in the game, Terrence Arsenal comes in the game. These dudes step up and they're ready for the moment because Kelvin Sampson has instilled this level of toughness and this culture. So no matter who goes down, the Houston Cougars are ready.
What he is doing in Houston is, I just don't think you can overstate the impact he's had, and the success is amazing. All right, well, of course, Houston's win, that brought us to Selection Sunday, the very next day. Houston gets a #1 seed. The Big 12 gets 7 schools, 7 of the 16 into the big dance. Of course, we would have liked to see more. I think there definitely should have been more. A lot of talk about what could have been the 8th school. West Virginia had its bubble burst. King, you go first. What were your thoughts on this? Because I got some.
It was disappointing to see, especially when you let schools like North Carolina in, who is 1-12 against quad 1 opponents. You let Xavier in, who I want to say is 1 in either 6 or 1-9 against quad 1 opponents. And you got a school like West Virginia, who's 6-10 against quad 1 opponents. I mean, common sense says you let the team who has more quad 1 wins in. But nonetheless, I mean, you look at the way North Carolina played first game. You look at the way Xavier played first game. I mean, those two teams won games, and they won games in the tournament, and they're playing really well. So I hate that West Virginia didn't get in.
All right, we also saw this was a tough one, right? Darren DeVries, who we sung his praises all year long on this show, a surprising move, a shocking move, and a staggering blow, really a knockout blow for the time being to West Virginia. How do they recover from this week of body blows? Put yourself inside that program for a minute and tell me what you think.
Man, you have to go out there and go hit a home run. That's the only way you recover. What I mean by a home run, I mean, there's some coaches out there who can get the job done, who are just as good as Darren DeVries. Let's not get it twisted. He's an excellent coach. He's one of the best coaches in the league. To see what he did first year was extremely impressive, especially when his son Tucker was out for 90% of the season. So to see the levels of success that he was able to reach with the team that he had, man, I was thoroughly impressed. But you got to go hit a home run. You got to go look for a guy like Ben McCullum. Go look for a guy like Jared Calhoun at Utah State. Maybe that name isn't as sexy. However, when you look at his resume, Youngstown State, Utah State, all this man does is win. I mean, me personally, you got to go hit a home run. You got to go find somebody that is willing to, go through those trials and tribulations as a Mountaineer and really get that program back to the heights that it was when you had Huggins.
Yeah, one thing, right? I mean, what Bob Huggins did, can't even, it's hard to think that someone will match it. But I will say that for the Darren DeVries, everybody that's so upset, I get it. You're heartbroken if you're in West Virginia. But, there's rumors this morning, we're taping this on a Friday, of the possibility that Rodney Terry is going to get let go, right? And that's so Darren DeVries, like either they'll catch up to you at some point, right? Yeah. Like the fan base, and if you're not winning, so that's why these coaches do what they do sometimes.
I mean, in Indiana you talk about tier 1 jobs in the country. You talk about all the blue bloods. I'd put Indiana as far as historically. It hasn't been there recently because they haven't been that great. But historically, Indiana is one of the top jobs in the country. So it's not like Darren DeVries just left ship to go somewhere where it was like, all right, maybe West Virginia was a way better job. What are you doing? No. He went to somewhere to try to, for lack of better words, I guess, elevate to a higher level job, a tier 1 job.
Yeah.
But not saying West Virginia is a bad job by any means, because West Virginia is an amazing job.
It's a great job.
It's a great job.
Our boy Fran thinks that he should have stayed there, because you could win there.
No, you can 100%. That whole narrative that you can't win at West Virginia is crazy to me, because we've seen it be done.
Yes.
We've seen them win games. So I don't like that narrative.
Me neither.
I hate that narrative, because you can win. You can win in West Virginia easily.
Oh, and it's an amazing place to play. The whole state is behind you. All right, Utah, a little bit of a celebration here. They're not in the tournament, but they made some news. They officially hired Alex Jensen, a guy with NBA ties. What are your thoughts about that move?
I think it was a complete, representative of what they saw at BYU with Kevin Young. I think that when you look at what they did and the success that Kevin Young has had, bringing his NBA mind to the college game and the success that BYU has been able to have under year 1 with him, I think they went to go try to do the same thing. I mean, Alex Jensen has ties there. I mean, he's a basketball mind that's been around some of the greatest guys in the game. I think he'll have the same level of success or close to it, at Utah. So I think that was a smart hire.
Great hire, great hire. All right, we'll be right back after this. We've got plenty more coming up, including all the Kings men. What is that about? We'll tell you all about it when we come back. We are back. He is the Hooper, King McClure, the Baylor great. I'm Pete Souza. King, I love this idea we're about to introduce to the people at home right now. We wanted to have some fun. Now, I'm a product. I grew up in the All Madden generation, where the All Madden team, those were John Madden's guys. Not necessarily like the best players numbers-wise in the NFL, but they were his dudes. We got a segment right now, All the Kings Men. These are your dudes, right? I mean, if you had your dream team, this is it. You've seen a lot of basketball this year.
I've seen a lot, and let's do it. Let's see who's on the fighting McClures. We got the starting 5 right now. We're gonna start at the point guard. We're going Javon Small. At the 2 guard, I'm going Curtis Jones. 3-man, Richie Saunders. 4-man, bucket getting Keyshawn Hall. 5-man, JT Toppin. And coming off my bench, if this man is coming off my bench, I'm in a good spot, Pete. DJ Edgecombe and my coach. Oh, give me Grant McCassin with the way he runs his offense. And defensively, he can do a few things, too. Shout out to Kelvin Sampson and Scott Drew and Jerome Tang. Of course, I could have chosen any one of those guys. But I'm rocking with Grant McCassin this year based off the success. But those are my men, man.
All right, let me ask you a question now. Javon Small, I think it's a crime against humanity that he's not playing in the tournament. But what was so special about him this year? That's a guy that I think it's a great chance to celebrate him right now.
It was his ability to be able to do so much with so little. He made the most of what he had at every moment. Because let's look at this. Let's take a look back when he was at Oklahoma State. He averaged 15, 5, and 5 on a team that frankly just wasn't good. They couldn't score the basketball. Bryce Thompson was a second option. Bryce Thompson's a good player. But his level of production is very up and down. He really didn't have dudes around him that could really help him get buckets or that could propel him to get wins in the Big 12. So then he transfers to West Virginia. Now all of a sudden, you're playing on with better dudes, a better stage, but your team can't score the basketball, Pete. They struggle to shoot the ball. They struggle to score. There were about 2 guys at all times that teams would not guard. So now let's think about this. As a point guard, for you to average 18, 19 points per game, but the defense is specifically helping off of their men to load up on you, to take away backdoor cuts, to take away your drives, to take away your threes, to make it more difficult on you. It basically doubles everything up, right? It makes it 2 times as hard as it typically would be because people aren't guarding them. So for you to still go out there and average 18, 19 a game, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, man, that is so impressive. And Javon Small didn't get enough credit that he should have gotten. That young man is going to play in the NBA. Just imagine if you put some talent around him, real talent around him. Not saying his dudes weren't talented, but let's imagine you put some scores around him, some shooting around him, what he can do.
Yeah, that's a guy who, honestly, for people that didn't watch West Virginia a lot this year, he could have been an All-American. I mean, he was that good this year. He was that good. All right, as we wind down the basketball season, we want to remember some of the fantastic moments in the Big 12 Conference season. It was an amazing one. Here are some of our favorite memories. King, what was your, most the moment in the season that just popped out to you, a moment.
The Houston win at Kansas. Oh my goodness.
I was with you on this.
Yes, I saw your answer, and I was like, you know what? I want to go a different direction, but I can't go anywhere else. This game was one of the games where it's like, oh my goodness, there's no way. I turned the game off. I'm getting ready to do BYU Baylor. I turned the game off because I thought it was over, and somehow they're like, hold on, wait.
Yeah.
This game is going to another overtime. I was like, no way. And they ended up winning the game. This is when I knew Houston was legit.
Yeah. No, I think, and it was one of those things where, you see Kelvin Sampson pretty measured, right, during the regular season. He was very excited about this win at Allen Fieldhouse, and it was a signature win for the program, I think, mentally, too. And both of those programs, Kansas obviously still has a great shot here in the tournament, but went different directions after that moment. All right, how about the biggest shot made all season long in the conference? This one's actually easy.
It's easy. Easy money. Arizona down by 3 with just 3 seconds remaining. And who else other than Caleb Love heaves it up for beauty from half court. And the Wildcats go on to knock off Iowa State in overtime. Oh my goodness.
And by the way, I think one of the reasons that was such an amazing play is that it just triggered this run for him in overtime.
Yeah.
Where he put the team on his back. And that's also one of those performances where Caleb Love has been extremely effective all season long in all kinds of different ways, which has been an evolution for his game. All right, how about your favorite performance of the year? I got mine, and yours is different this time, finally. So
all right, well, Texas Tech, the game that I did, they give Houston its only Big 12 loss of the year without JT Toppin, who was ejected, which I completely disagree with. Right after my man gets ejected, then Coach McCasson gets ejected as well. And all of a sudden, Elijah Hawkins has 17, Chance McMillan has 23. The guards just beat the Houston guards off the bounce, put him on an island, said, you can't guard me. Big shot after big shot was hit, and they end up getting the road win. That arena was crazy. It was rowdy. It was loud. It was kind of intimidating. I was like, oh my goodness, looking around. I didn't know y'all got down like this in Houston. But nonetheless, that was my most impressive performance.
Oh, I love that one. Mine was also one that I got to bear witness to. Keshawn Hall, January 14th, putting up a career high 40 points to beat Arizona State. He averaged about 19 a game this season, recorded 3 of the top 5 single game scoring performances on the season. But this reminds me of like video games or, really like when you get a guy that just takes over a game and every time the ball leaves his hand, everybody in the arena knows it's going in. It's just a cool deal. It's really cool when that happens. That ever happened to you?
There was a few games where it might have happened where I just threw the thing up and I knew it was going in. But Keyshawn Hall was an elite level bucket getter that got snubbed from all first team Big 12. But we don't got to get into that right now.
Well, he made
but that
all
young
the
man,
King's men.
He did make all the King's men, but that young man is a bucket getter. Happy for him.
All right, Ann O'Neill is coming up next. March Madness for the ladies, too. We break it all down. Inside the 12 rolls on. I'm Pete Souza. Of course, you got my man King McClure. We are happy to be joined again by our women's Big 12 analyst. There she is, Ann O'Neill. Ann, thanks so much for joining us. Fresh off a postseason and unrivaled. Congratulations on a season well done.
Oh, thanks so much. It was an incredible experience and so happy to be back here with you guys and talking March Madness hoops.
Well, and we cannot wait. And just to remind everyone that because of our recording broadcasting schedule, some games will already have taken place, so we can't talk specifics. But we do want to know your expectations for the Big 12 heading into the big dance.
Well, I love it. We, finished the regular season. We had 8 teams that already won 20 games each. And we have 7 teams in the NCAA tournament and also 3 teams that were invited to the WBIT, which is also an NCAA sanctioned tournament. So really excited about the 10 teams that are still able to play hoops. But let's kick off a couple of expectations like you asked for. TCU, they're a 2 seed and they get to play at home. I really like their matchups. If they get to the second round, they're going to go up against Louisville, and that's Haley Van Lith, the Big 12 Player of the Year, her old team. I like their chances because, man, is it hard to game plan for Haley Van Lith, 6'7" Sedona Prince, and then sharpshooter Madison Connor. Other teams that are standing out to me, Baylor, they're a 4 seed. I really like their chances being able to play at Waco, and Coach Nikki Collin has the Baylor Bears playing really great basketball towards the end of the season. And for a possible upset, I am picking West Virginia. They are a 6th seed. They are a 6th seed. And you know what I love is their stress Virginia defense. They hold opponents to 55 points per game. And I think if they can get past Columbia in the first round, the second round most likely will be the 3 seed in North Carolina. And I really like their defense going up against that North Carolina offense.
Here's one little intangible, too. You know, if they get rolling, the entire state of West Virginia will be behind them. Because of all the stuff on the men's side right now, they're looking for a good time. So a great reason to support the Mountaineers.
All right, Iowa State was the last Big 12 team to get in. They were sent to a first 4 game, overcame a 15-point deficit in the second half to beat Princeton 68-63. What did you see from the Cyclones in that opening game?
Oh my gosh, I was sitting on the edge of my seat. Down 15 at halftime, but they made a comeback. You can never count out the Cyclones and Coach Bill Fenley. So a couple of major milestones happened here. Coach Fenley won his 800th game. His impact on women's basketball is immeasurable. He joins only 2 other active coaches in Gino Auriemma from UConn and Wes Moore from NC State to hit that 800 threshold. We also had the Big 12 career assists leader broken by Emily Ryan. You guys, she has 988 assists. That's a whole lot of dimes she's been passing out in that Cyclone uniform. What I loved about the actual gameplay, though, was Audie Crooks and Addie Brown. They combined for 49 points. They just turned it up big time in the second half. And I like their chances going into playing the 6th seed Michigan, because once you get those first game jitters out of the way, then anything's possible. And now they're all feeling the vibes after getting that first one, the first big win going.
You know, Ann really hits an extra gear when she talks about the Cyclones. You notice that? I wonder, we'll have to maybe look into her background, see where she went to school. All right, you guys, this next one.
All right, so we had a segment earlier called All Kings Men earlier in the show, right? We want to get Ann's dream team. Who are Ann's aces or Ann's womans?
Okay, I love it. You know, I was looking through the Big 12, top rosters, and geez, I could have put 25 players on here. But let's start with the backcourt. I'm going Haley Van Lith, Serena Sundell, and JJ Quinterly. They are all top of the top in the nation, not just in the Big 12 conference. Haley Van Lith, Big 12 Player of the Year. Serena Sundell, she held it down for Kansas State while Ioka Lee was injured, the 6'6" center, and she actually even upped her stats there. She's also jumping really high on WNBA draft boards. And then you have JJ Quinterly, who can play both sides of the ball. She's one of the best two-way players in all of women's basketball. 20 points a game, 3 steals a game, really is that leader in the West Virginia defense. Dariana Littlepage-Buggs and Audie Crooks. Dariana, she is the only player in the Big 12 that averaged a double-double, 14 points and 10 boards. So you know that she's going to hold it down on the boards. And Audie Crooks, I mean, what else is there left to say? She led the Big 12 in scoring. She is an automatic bucket when she gets the ball, shoots over 62%. And then for the 6th player is Gianna Neepkins. There is no better shooter in the nation. She shoots 40% from 3, 50% from the field goal, and 90% from the free throw line. And we got to talk about Mark Campbell. The turnaround that he did at TCU was one of the best in the entire nation. He's our Big 12 Coach of the Year, and he just got his contract extended. It must have been because of all of those records he broke by getting in the AP Top 10, 30-win season. It was just all Horned Frogs. So that's my dream team, what it's looking like right now. And if I could put all those players and coaches together, we would be winning a national championship for sure.
We get to find out soon who's going to win the Women's National Championship. But man, finding out who your team was is amazing. Ann's womans. I love that.
I like that.
That's pretty good, King. All right, our last commercial break is coming up. Ann, thank you so much for joining us. When we return, we're going to take a look and try to slam it home, literally, some of the best dunks of the year. Welcome back to Inside the 12. He is King McClure. I'm Pete Souza. Time for What to Watch, which is presented by Children's Health. Of course, the NCAA men's and women's tournament going on. Full transparency, right? I would love to stay locked in the studio with this dude and watch hoops all weekend long and give you live updates, but we can't do that. So we're just telling you to watch the tournament, and you will see the results yourselves. And we'll be back with you next week to recap it all. Football-wise, Big 12 Pro Day in Frisco, Texas this week. Over 200 NFL hopefuls will be there. They're trying to get drafted next April. What to watch? You ever watch gymnastics? You ever do gymnastics? I wonder if you could do like a floor routine.
The closest thing I've seen to gymnastics is my daughter taking her to, tumbling class on a weekly basis and watching her try to flip. She hasn't perfected it yet, but she's trying.
There you go. So you know a little something about gymnastics. The Big 12 Gymnastics Championships, you can do this, King, will take place on Saturday. Coverage starts at 2 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN+. We are looking at footage from Utah earlier this year. The Utes, the regular season champs. King, we already talked about your routine. Also, you made dunking look routine. Let's get to some of the best dunks all season long. We gotta see this, right? The Big 12 had amazing action, and dunks on the men's side, well, were the order of business. Let's check it out. We're gonna start off with Toby Okani of West Virginia. Tell me what you think of this one, King.
Oh my goodness. Off of the oop, the one-hand slam, goodness gracious. The catch, the cockback, and number 2, we're looking at Kiva Keita from BYU. You throw it up there, that young man is going to get it.
BYU best get out of the way right there. How about Juwan Roberts coming up now with Houston? I mean, Juwan Roberts is a scary dude. I want him with me down a dark alley, but I definitely don't want him dunking on me, that's for sure.
And he's not even a dude that's known to really have hops, but nonetheless, if you will give him a runway, he can slam it.
All right, JT Toppin coming up next. We saw a lot of different things, so many different ways. I think we had this game, King.
Oh, yeah, the cock back.
Yes.
The dunk, the slam, get out of the way.
Yeah, he was amazing all season long.
Easy money.
Looking for him to be amazing more.
Number 5, we look at that KJ Adams, Kansas. Who else?
Ooh.
The rim threat, the lob threat, you just throw it up. Time and time again, we've seen this.
Austin's own.
He soars like the best of them.
He played lacrosse. He was like a great lacrosse player, too.
I didn't even know that.
Oh, yeah, the hand-eye.
You learn something new every day.
How about this? Dylan Mitchell. Big dunk.
Oh. The windmill off of the left-hand windmill off the left leg, that is such a hard dunk to do because typically you would go off the right leg, but Dylan Mitchell is a freak athlete. And also Caleb Love is one too. And if you don't watch out, he will take off. And he takes off outside of the paint. The elevation, that is a long distance to take off outside of the paint, Pete.
Well, this guy is always taking off coming up here. VJ Edgecombe. Check him out right here. I mean, every game there was something like this, but man. I mean, this is one of many amazing dunks by VJ this year.
Oh, down the lane, you give him a free reign, you might end up on the wrong side of a poster.
Yeah, a couple guys have this year. All right, that is all we have time for this week. Thanks to King and, of course, our guest, Ann O'Neill. Talking women's hoops, make sure you watch the men's and women's. We will be back next week on Inside the 12.